Okay, hi there. Today we're going to talk about a technique that's pretty easy to use if you find yourself with some negative thoughts that are spiraling. So during this whole pandemic and being stuck at home, we have a lot of time to think. So this might be helpful for you. It's the ABCs of thinking. Different people teach it different ways, but this is how I do. So the first thing I do is show you this very technical thing, ABCD, right? Okay, so the A column is activating event. So this can be anything. It can be a memory, it can be a song that comes on the radio, it can be just a thought that comes into your mind. So this is our activating event. It can be anything. Again, I want to stress that. It doesn't have to be something really big or really formal. It can just be a small thought or something that comes into your mind. Next we have our B column. So our B column, I make this one really big because it's kind of the biggest column, so you can see. So our B column is our automatic beliefs, thoughts, feelings and emotions, and physical responses. So not all of us are very good at thinking about what our physical response feels like, but when you start to pay attention, you start to realize that most of your emotions accompany some kind of physical sensation. So this is where we put all of that stuff in our B column. This is the column that you'll be able to see when you first start doing this, kind of spirals out of control pretty quickly. You can go from I can't find my keys to thinking that you're going to be fired and homeless for the rest of your life. That's kind of what the B column does. The C column is the consequence column. So it's not the consequences of this event. It's the consequences of living in this B column. So what happens when we live in the B column, when we let ourselves think too much in this column, we start to believe that those things are true. We start to react to other people based on things that are in this column that may or may not be accurate. So it can interfere with our own emotions. It can interfere with our relationships with others. It can impact our job performance and our school performance because we are maybe not thinking accurately. So that is the C column. Then we get to our D column. So D column is disputing. So that's where we take all the stuff in this column that we need to address and we challenge it. We dispute it one by one. We go through and ask questions like, is this accurate? Is this true? What evidence do I have? Is there something different than I can think of? It's where I encourage people to kind of list things that they're grateful for and kind of shift that focus to more gratitude. Also in that column you can do identify what you know to be true about yourself or what you know to be true about situations or the history or your family or whatever the case may be. And we'll work through one of these so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But the D column is where you dispute all of that information that might not be accurate. And so hopefully the goal is eventually this D column will become your new B column. So when you are in a healthier state, you're going to be much quicker to change this B column into something more adaptive or healthy or positive or functional. So that's the goal. Okay, so my marker's too big, but I just kind of wrote on there activating event, beliefs, thoughts, etc., consequences, disputing. So for our example that we're going to work through, my activating event is rethinking a conversation that I had with somebody. So this could be, so the example that I'm thinking of is when I met somebody for the first time and I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. I do this, whatever. This is my hobby, or I don't know. And then thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. So that's my activating event. So I'm just kind of rehashing this conversation that I had with this person. Okay, so in my B column, this is where I'm going to start thinking writing down all of the things that have gone through my mind. So the first thing I'm going to write down is, oh my goodness, they probably thought I was so awkward. Then I'm going to say, I'm so dumb. I can't believe I talked about let's make something up here. I can't believe I talked about my dogs that much. This person is going to tell everyone I'm an idiot. Let's see, what other things? Oh, okay, so if that, I'm never going to be able to get ahead because people think I'm weird. Let's see, what else? So you can kind of get an idea about how far that spirals. So I've gone from, what was that interaction like, or kind of rethinking it to, I'm never going to get ahead in my career. I'm going to be stuck for the rest of my life. So not helpful, right? So the consequences of me thinking in this area are that I'm probably not going to want to introduce myself to anybody else. I might start to withdraw. I might like self-limit. So I might be like, well, you know what? It's not going to matter anyway because they already think that I'm awkward and don't want to talk to me. So I'm not even going to try anymore. So I would self-limit myself. I might start to believe the things about myself that I'm thinking that are in this column. So that's the consequence column. It's the consequence of thinking in here, allowing myself to think. So now we're going to get to the disputing. So this is where the really important work happens. So this is where I think, oh my gosh, they probably thought I was so awkward. So that's where I would start to challenge that. Yep, you know what? I'm a human. Everybody's awkward sometimes. I would also think, I would try and remember what was that person's response to this, to my talking to them? Did they say that I was awkward? Did they like have facial expressions that indicated that? If they did, maybe that was their own thing. Maybe that person just isn't going to be connected with me, and that's okay. So I can say something to myself or remind something to myself that I'm not going to connect with everyone because we don't connect with everyone. There are some people that we just don't connect with. So I'm not going to connect with everyone. I'm so dumb. I can't believe I talked about my dog so much. So that's another thing that I can dispute. What, am I dumb? No, I'm not really dumb. I was able to accomplish the things in my life that are important to me. So I can put those, I can list those out here. I can say, okay, I graduated, I got a job, I have worked in the same job for X number of years. Those things I know to be true, so I can put those on here as disputes to, I'm so dumb, because that's not accurate. I'm not dumb. And so if you find yourself in that kind of situation where you're like, God, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe I did that, that's where you could pull out some of those things. Like, no, you're not an idiot, you're not dumb. You have all of these things that you know to be true about yourself. Sometimes that's really hard. If you're in a really low place, sometimes that can be hard, so it takes some challenge, but it's doable. So my next one is, this person is going to tell everyone that I'm an idiot. Again, that's where I need to be more focused on the things that I know to be true. So what if this person goes and tells everyone I'm an idiot? I have done enough stuff in my life, in my career, that I feel like I've probably set enough of an example of myself that people know who I am and what I am. So if someone says, yeah, I met that girl and she was really awkward, she talked about her dogs, they're going to be like, yep, she likes her dogs. That's probably the reality. And the people that this person would talk to that would say, okay, I'm not going to have anything to do with her because she talked about her dogs, probably not the people that I really want to be engaged with. So that is So we could just really quickly, to put that one in there, we can say, well, I guess it kind of goes with the one above. I'm not always going to connect with somebody. So then I'm not going to ever be able to get ahead in my career. So this last bullet point on my B column, that again goes with someone I have done enough. I know to be true that I've done enough in my life that I'm still going to be able, my accomplishments are going to stand on their own. I don't have to rely on someone's first impression of me. So if I, so if I use this and a thought comes into my mind like, oh my gosh, I was so awkward when I met that person. The quicker I am to be able to say, you know what, I don't need to really spend so much time on that because the things that I've done in my life, I know to be true, are going to stand on their own, then I'm more easily able to negate some of this negative thinking and get into a more positive mind space. So you can use this for just about anything. One of my examples that I like to use is when my son was 15 and I would ask him like, hey, do you want to go to Target with me? And he'd say, I'm good. So my first reactions could be, what? Why would he not want to go with me? What is wrong with him? Ugh, I'm so mad. I'm not getting him anything when I go to Target. I'm going to get myself stuff and I'm not going to get him stuff. And I could go through this whole thing and I could feel in my stomach was starting to get kind of like a tight knot. And I could feel my face shifting, like I could feel it. And so when I switch to the D column, when I start to challenge those things, it becomes much less of an emotional thought. It becomes more rational because I can say, wait a minute, he's 15. He's not supposed to want to come to Target with his mom. He didn't say anything rude. He was polite. I asked. I was the one that offered. He doesn't have to do everything I say. Like, this was an optional thing. So at that point, I can start to calm down. I feel my face shifting. I feel my stomach getting less tight. And then I can tell myself things that I know to be true. So he's generally pretty respectful. He is kind. He does things that are considerate of other people. So I don't have to be upset that he didn't want to come to Target with me. So that's just another example. And you can work through this and kind of think about what are the areas that you find yourself getting in a B column or an unhelpful, maybe irrational column. Notice what you're feeling inside your body. Notice what you're thinking. If you need to, if you're really worked up, you can always do a really big breath too. That's really important if you notice those physical things. So sometimes, I mean, there's a ton of breaths, but sometimes the most effective is just one really big, get it right in your stomach and then let it out slow, where you're thinking, okay, I need to move over to the D column. I need to start disputing some of this stuff. So that is the ABCs of thinking. It can be a pretty valuable resource. It's not super difficult. The hardest part is really challenging those negative beliefs. So, all right, take care. We'll see you next time.